Right, this is how I do my stickers, if you want to call them stickers, vinyls. Obviously you need a vinyl cutter. I use a Silhouette Cameo, and with that you get this software which is Silhouette Studio. This is when it's first opened. Obviously a blank page, so from here you can on the left hand side zoom in. You can simply just click and add writing. Move it, resize it, change the fonts, all sorts you can do there, or you can import. So for this instance, go to Google and I've just searched truck silhouette. And as you can see, there's quite a few to come up with. You don't need to do silhouette, it's just easier because it's showing you roughly what you're going to get. Well, not roughly, it is what you're going to get as long as you cut it correctly. You remember it's one colour. You can layer colours to make multicoloured stickers, but obviously the more you layer the thicker it gets. But for most instances you just want one for writing or things like that. So we'll find something that will serve our purpose. Right, this one I do. It's a nice enough truck picture, so let's open that up. Well, that wasn't it, was it? So that's good. Click on the one you want and it gives you something completely different. It's Google for you. Try again. There we go, that's better. Right, so save that. We just save it straight to the desktop for now. And we can minimise that, go back to our silhouette. And so if we do open, here's the one we want, and open, and there it is on the screen. So it's a bit big for what we want. It's miles too big for our picture, but that's not an hardship because you can just resize it straight on the screen to whatever you want. So let's leave it at that for a minute because we can work with that. So then over on the right hand side, you do trace and you select area to trace, then you highlight what you want, and now what is yellow is basically what you're going to be left with at the end. You can fine tune it in case it's too much or too little, so you can take some down a bit, take some up a bit. I usually just leave it whatever it comes out as. It's got enough detail, it's pretty accurate on what it does. Just leaving it, it sort of does it automatically, if you like. Then you click on trace, the yellow's gone. You pick up the red lines, so if you move the picture you're left with just red lines. They're your cut lines. They're what the machine is going to cut. So now you can click on it, you'll see if you pick up, it's got sizes in millimeters. And you can adjust this to whatever size you want to do it. So you adjust the size to what size you want it, and then I tend to put it up in one corner so you don't get a load of wastage. Right, there's a red line underneath which was probably on this blue box because I went too low. Because it's all linked, it's all, if you whatever part you click on, it will click on the lot, so it moves it all. You can what they call it, you can detach lines, divide, but it takes ages if there's loads of lines. So the easiest thing I found is if you click on the eraser rubber, as we call it, and then literally just rub the line out. You can also zoom right in and remove lines if you don't want. So say you have the number plate, you don't want a number plate on this, just say for argument's sake. So if you click on the zoom, to bring it a bit closer to you, makes it easier to see what you're doing. Right, so now if you want to, you could remove where the number plate is and zoom back out. It's gone, so it won't cut it now. He's desired, oh I do want it, you can just hit return. or undo, and it's back. So let's keep what's there. Right, so we don't need this no more, so I like that. Get rid of it. This is what we're working with. Now, if you want to, you can also say put some writing in. Which has completely gone off the page. But again, so just click off of it, click back on it, and you put the box around it, and then you can easily resize it to fit. So you can say, right, what's that, 100 and just over 110 mil long. That'll do. If you want it a bit deeper, you pull the middle one down, or a bit longer. If you don't want it in the same aspect, would help if I spelt my name right. There is an S in it. So let's move that back a bit. Right, and then you can say, right, so I want to fill that gap up, and I'll cut a few of them. So duplicate, drag it down, drop it. You can highlight two of them, duplicate, and it will duplicate the two. Again, drag it down, drop it. I think we'll stick another one. It's just like working a printer software, if you like. You can mirror it, you can flip it, you can rotate it. Pretty much do whatever you want. But you've got to remember, whatever is there is what is going to cut, exactly how it's going to cut it. Now what I like to do is select the box tool and put a box around what I'm cutting, so it just makes it easier when it comes to the weeding process, which I will show you once it's cut. So we've put a box there, we'll put a box, actually let's leave that box there. We can move this lot up because they're very low, and we can even get another one out of that. There you go, that'll do. So select the box again. Now you can do a box around each one. I find it easier just to do a box around the lot. Then select the line tool and just put lines in each one just to separate them all. It's just, the more you can isolate, the easier it is to weed. What they mean when you say weeding, what they mean is, if you imagine you have, right, let me go back to the select, I'll highlight this. So if you can see all the writing, so if you imagine all this is going to be one colour, whatever colour you put in, let's say for argument's sake black, the whole thing is black. So when it's cut, you'll still just have all black, and then you have to take away all this bit on the outside to leave the writing behind. That's weeding. Then you take, say, the middle bit of the A out, the middle bit of the P out, and so on. So you're literally just left with what you want. That's what weeding is in vinyl terms. It's like with the truck. You're weeding out the bits you don't want and leaving the bits you do want, so you end up with the final picture. So once you have it like that, say, you then, let's make one of these. A bit bigger, just to show you that you can, so you can, like I say, do the same as a printer. You can drag it, drop it, change text on it. You can do all sorts of stuff on these. Once you've got it here, you can still go in and change it to one I like to do because it's nice and easy to weed and it looks good is Rockwell. So now you can see the bottom one is different to the top one. Even though it was a duplicate of it, you've now changed it. It's easy as that. And then you can duplicate more if you like. Or so once you're happy with what you've got, and this is going to be a bit difficult to weed on some of this, but we'll work it out. You then go to focus, focus, focus. You then go up to send. Send is like print, if you like. On your normal one you would push print, on here you push send, and it sends it. Don't send nothing actually, it goes to the cut part, where on here now you can see it's really bright red because this is all your cut lines now. It looks a bit like it ain't going to cut, it's all like one piece, but then it's a small on that screen. You've got to remember that. If you enlarge it up, you see it starts coming out. Ooh, a bit too much. It's what you're going to get. So now you can pick your vinyl. In this case we're going to do these in matte black. So we need to go down to vinyl. Is that focused? Yep. Right, so you can see vinyl mat. So then that fills what it thinks it should be. You can adjust it. You'll get used to your own machines and everything. I find I like it to work at speed of 3. The faster it'll go, the more it's going to likely to catch and pull something out, some of the letters or finer bits of detail. I leave the false. I'm using an auto blade. There are loads of other blades you can get, but I'm just going to use the auto blade on here. Right, you can see down the bottom it's trying to connect because the machine ain't on, so I'm going to stop it here and go and get the machine ready, and then I'll be back. Right, I'm back. As you can see, it's now connected, ready to go. So now you're happy, you click send. Once you hit send, it will send it wirelessly. That's the good thing about this machine. It's not plugged in. It's plugged in electric. It's not plugged into the computer, so it hasn't even got to be next to it or anything. And once you hit send, it will send the information across to the cutter and it'll start cutting. So let's do that now. Actually, I'll move the camera. I'll get the camera set up on the cutter and then I'll hit send so you can see exactly what happens. Right, I'll speed this up till the end. You don't want to watch this for, how long does it say? 10.5 minutes. Right, that's finished. As you can see, don't look any different. Still just looks black. You can see slight marks. Don't know if you pick it up on the camera. So, right, cut this off and then we'll take you down to my work table and I'll show you the weeding process. Right, so we've all cut, we're all ready, we're all blue. First thing I'm going to do, just to make things easier for me, is cut this in half. Move that one out of the way. Right, you can probably make out the lines on it. Now, there's all different ways of doing this. Personally, I prefer a nice pair of tweezers. And then, if you... Right, first off, we can get rid of the bit that goes around the outside. Actually, the tweezers are a bit, the ones are a bit old because they're what I use for screws. So let's get a decent pair. I do like curved ones, personal preference. Right, so if we now remove the outside bit, and then you just start weeding away at the bits that need to come out, and you will start seeing, hopefully, the thing you wanted to end up with. It is just literally a case of working your way round, pulling it all out. See, there's a few tricky bits on here, so I'll leave them for a minute so I can zoom in and show you what I'm talking about. Let's get rid of all the obvious bits first. Right, can't quite get into that bit with them tweezers, so use a knife, try and lift it. There you go. Damage the vinyl slightly there, but not the end of the world. Right, these bits here and these lights up the top are going to be a little bit trickier, so I'll leave them for a minute. Like I said, I'll get all the obvious bits out first, but you can see it's progressively getting to what you want it to get to. Just make sure you take out the right bits, leave the other bits behind. So sometimes it breaks your heart because you think the amount of wastage, but if you make things, instead of just cutting one, like I say, if you fill the page or the bit next to it, because if you hadn't put anything there, although you can get a cutting mat and it sticks to the cutting mat so you can feed it through, I always have trouble getting it back off the cutting mat. I prefer just to have it on the roll. That's why I like the Silhouette, because the other make, Cricket, you have to use everything on a mat. They don't do roll feed, so you're limited to size as well. So I'm not a fan of them ones, to be honest with you. I find Silhouette Cameo 3 is what I have, and it's brilliant, I personally think. And make sure it leaves that bit behind. And there's your grill. There's the number plate bit what we nearly cancelled. Right, so let me zoom in a bit and I'll show you what I mean on where are we? Right, these lights, because there's a ring and you want to leave the centre bit, so sometimes it's a bit hard getting underneath them, but I find if you have a scalpel, because it's nice and thin, you can get in and lift the ring out and leave the centre behind. Just have to be a little bit patient so as you don't damage the rest of it. Now if you do them carefully, so you can reuse them for something. What, I don't know, but I guess you could put them around the lights on the bottom of the scanner if you really wanted to. Some people like using it's almost like a pick, like a needle to get underneath them. But so I find on these smaller bits like this, just, can you actually see? No, you can't. I find just teasing the blade under it does the job. Right there, these ones are just as difficult because you've got to leave the middle. There's a circle bit in the middle, you'll see what I mean when you pull it up. But there's enough there to get hold of, you just ope. Again, just tease it round, don't pull it off too quick. And it's left a bit in the middle. See, now this one's pulling it off with it. So, let me turn it so I can show you. Right, so now I would push the knife gently, not hard, because you don't want to mark the vinyl, on the bit you want to leave behind, and tease the vinyl around it, and there you go. See, told you all, it was very easy. But the small bits can be a bit tricky. The smaller you get, the harder it's going to be, because even though it's cut, it's just, I think it's just a glue on the back, but it tends to want to stick to itself all the time. So the bigger it is, the easier they pull apart. So when you get down to these little fiddly bits, see, now that's pulled it off with it, but take your time, stick it back where it's got to go. See, now I took that one completely off with it as well. Now there's a couple of ways you can do it. Stick it on a clear bit of the paper and hold it and tease it off. And then using your knife, lift it and just move it back to where it's supposed to be. There you go, job done. And now we've got the same with these lights at the bottom. We need to take the ring around and leave the square in the middle. So again, I'm going to use a knife just to lift that ring up. There you go. That's one done. That's the second one. So there you have it. So that is now, nope, I just noticed a bit that I missed. There you go. So that is cut and weeded. And now you can see exactly what it's supposed to be. Now if you get really clever, you can start doing other bits and overlay it if you wanted to. I wouldn't attempt to try and put anything on that because it's tiny. But that should give you an idea of how easy it is to make your own. The only thing that I think that might give me a bit of problem on these is the 3 dots, the 3 full stops, so to speak. But again, this is why I give it individual squares around it, because if you try and pull the whole of this off, I guarantee it will pull quite a few of the letters with it. But if you do it one at a time, you can work a lot slower. And you see how I rock it side to side just to help lift, get in and lift any bit that's stuck. Rocking it side to side moves each side just a little bit at a time rather than trying to pull the whole thing off. Things like the S's you sometimes need to just get in because it's gone back on itself, so to speak. If you're left-handed, you'd probably do it the other way. Even if you're right-handed, you could do it the other way. I find it easier this way because I need my right hand spare to get in there. And if I'm doing a lot, when I've took the bit off, I like to just plonk it next to me so it's out of my way. And then as you grab these bits, just stick them on the underside of that, because it's glue against glue. You ain't got to keep faffing about trying to get them off the end of the tweezers. It's just easier. You could even take them all out before you do the big bit. And I will show you the bottom one, because the bottom one was different. If you remember, it was just different font and it's bigger. So being bigger, I was going to say it should come off easier, but that's pulling that dot with it straight away. Just the first one, it's left the rest. And there you have it. Again, same thing, get the bits out the middle. Job done. Once you've done it with all, you can either slice them up, whatever. Like I said in a previous video, I don't like putting the application tape on until I'm going to use them. because the longer the application's on there, it seems to not want to come off again, even though it's low tech, or supposedly low tech. The glue on the back of here is a lot stronger than the glue on the back of the application tape. And to give you an example, application tape is pretty much similar to masking tape. You can actually use masking tape. It has got a slightly higher tack to the masking tape. So with masking tape, what I like to do, say this cutting mat, I'd get the masking tape, put it on here, pull it off a few times, 3 or 4 times, to take quite a bit of that tackiness away. Then put it on, you would lift the whole of this off. Let me get a bit and show you, it's the easiest way. So, normal masking tape. Right, so like I say, I personally just like to take some of the tackiness off, because masking tape it's a bit tricky getting it off. It seems to hold it a bit too much for my liking. So just take some of the glue off, probably puts a bit of dirt on there, which also helps the stickiness. Then you put it over your writing. Now I've watched other videos about squeegees, this crap, that crap, all this other rubbish you can get. Bloody finger, just give it a good rub. That's all you need. Obviously if it's something like this, you want to put it on slowly and do it, because you don't want air bubbles. On the application tape, it doesn't matter if there's air bubbles, because you're lifting the whole thing off. It's when you put this on whatever. But I will show you, I'll tell you a tip. I won't show you because I'm going to do this. If you get a mist bottle, oh, excuse me. If you get a mister, put a tiny drop of washing up liquid in it and water, and just mist whatever you're putting it on gently. So, say for argument's sake, you was putting it on here. If you just give that a slight misting, so it's got just a minuscule amount of water with the washing up liquid on it. Writing, you don't need it. Something, if you're doing it biggish, there's too much on here to really do it, but you could probably get away with it. And if you stick it, put the application tape on, peel all this off, put it down on the wet surface. This is where the squeegee then comes in. With the application tape still on, squeegee from the middle to get rid of all the water, which will also take out any air bubbles with it. If, for argument's sake, this didn't have so many lines cut in it, I think you'd still get away with it actually as it is. As long as it's wet enough, not drenched but wet. That's on application tape. You can slide it around because it won't stick. So you can position it to exactly where you want it. Once you've got it where you want it, then start squeegeeing outwards from the middle to get rid of all the water, which again will take all the air bubbles with it. Once you've got all the water out, majority of the water out, you should be able to take the application tape off, leave the sticker behind. Then just a bit of kitchen roll, just to dab it. Don't start wiping it because you might catch bits. Dab it to take the rest of the excess off, and then just go over it slightly with an air dryer, which will also, it helps activate the glue quicker. If you just put this on application tape, put it on there, you don't need air dryer, you don't need nothing. It sticks like shit to a blanket. So this, as you can see, I'll show you how easy this comes off. Look, I'm hardly touching it, and it will bring the writing. Again, don't rip it because your chances are you'll leave something behind. Just do it nice and slowly. making sure you've got everything. If you don't, just put it back down over it gently, just give it an extra little bit of rub, tease it off. So now it's all come off on the tape. So let's move that out of the way. Right, this will do for now, just to show you. So place it where you want it to go. Again, no squeegee necessary. Use your finger. Just give it a nice rub to stick it down. And then I like to pull it back on itself. And hopefully see, I didn't get enough tackiness off of this. It doesn't want to leave it behind. Like I said, it's a bit temperamental with masking tape. You can do it, you just have to be a bit patient and ease it off. Once you've eased it off, it comes off quite well. You find you just have to probably help each letter, because the masking tape has got it's too sticky. So like I said, application tape is a lot less sticky than what masking tape is. So it tends to come off that pretty easy. I needed to put this down on here. Mind you, I've cleaned this, so there's not a lot on it, but a few more times take some of that glue off. See, some of it will come off. That K's pretty much come off on its own. But again, this is just me being lazy and not going to get the application tape. I say, if you was doing this yourself, you'd do it properly, because you'd have everything to hand. As you can see, I'm not helping them all. Some are actually coming off, and some are being a bit stubborn. Again, please remember, this is me being lazy. This is nothing to do with how it works. So, I don't know how well you can see that. So that is pretty much doing your own vinyls. As I said, it's pretty easy to do. Saying that, there's another one that don't want to come off. But this is just a little dot, don't forget, it's not the main writing. The smaller it is, the harder it is. Once you get to the writing, it pretty much just pops off. Pretty easy. And you can always just put them back where they're supposed to go. So that's it. Any questions, leave them in a comment and I'll be glad to answer if I can. Likewise, if there's anything else I can help you with, let me know and I'll do my best. Can't promise, because unlike some people, I don't know everything. I know what I know, and that's all I know. But what I do know, I'm willing to share if I can. Right, let me just give you a quick example of some of the vinyls I have actually done, and you'll see, you'll get an idea of what can be done. So, simple writing, pretty much similar to what we've just done. Two coloured, a little bit tricky because you cut them. The easiest way to do it, what I've done there, is cut the same pattern twice, obviously once in black and once in purple, then remove half and half, if that makes sense. It's a good example of a two-layered. Now the machine will do that for you. There's a button, there's a bit on there you can actually push, so you do your writing, push it, and it will actually do that. And then as you see me dragging it about, you drag the top one off, put that onto another cutting folder, and then you cut the bottom one in one colour, the top one in another colour. Don't change the size, so you leave them, you get them exactly how you want them before you split them, cut them, and then they will literally just fit straight back on top of each other, because the machine has done all the work for you. That was all done on it. That's quite easy really. It looked complicated, but it was easy because it's big, it's one piece. Actually this is a separate one, so all this and him is one piece. This was a separate one that I just overlaid on it. Again, a bit more fancy writing, poppy. You can buy them on eBay for, I think they're about 5-6 quid. There's pennies worth there, which I made myself. More writing, again one colour on one colour writing. One I've just done, which you know I've done myself. All the writing and the picture and Coca-Cola and everything else. Just writing again. Silly little thing I'll come up with, I was going to use as like a symbol, but it just seems to work on that lorry. I've done the Kenwood sign for that. Stars, easy as anything. No, I didn't do that. That's a bit odd. I didn't do that either, but you could. That's quite simple to do because there's not that many colours and you can just layer them. So obviously your pink background, then you do the black bits, then the blue bits and the yellow bits, and you just add it all onto it. It would just rise it. The more you add, the thicker it's going to be. But remember, this stuff is seriously thin. I mean, I don't know what gauges they go in and that, but it's ultra thin. So you could add 4 or 5 layers. You're still not talking thick. It's still only going to be about as thick as a bit of paper. And people, I've seen people use printable vinyl. I've used it myself, printable vinyl. Actually, I have printed off, right, that 4 sticker is on inkjet printer for vinyl. I just printed off a whole sheet, cut out what I want, peel the back off, stick them on. You can feel the thickness as opposed to the vinyl. It's seriously thin. But if you're going on a flat surface, it doesn't matter. The only thing I would suggest, anything like this, is you don't want to keep it in any kind of sunlight, because the sunlight will actually fade it. You can get sprays to put on it and that, but they never seem to work for me, so I don't bother. If it fades, I'll peel it off and stick another one on there, but the vinyl won't. This vinyl, I think, if I remember rightly, the one I get has got a 5-year life. That's 5 years out on a vehicle outside all the time. These are inside, curtains usually drawn, there's no direct sunlight on them, so they should last for a very long time. Again, we have one on top of the other, but you see how big the white is compared to the blue on this one, where the black to the blue on that one. So you can adjust it all as you're doing it. You can adjust the sizes. That's chromed vinyl. It's a lot more expensive, it's a lot thicker. So if you put it on anything with curves, it tends not to stick. It wants to go straight all the time. It's very nice stuff, but it is very thick. It's hard to cut. And like I say, you want a completely clean flat surface to put it on. That is carbon fibre vinyl. Again, it's quite thick, so you want a flat surface, but it's nice to work with. It cuts well. They both cut well. If you put the right settings in, it will cut. That machine, you can even cut card on it. People use them to make cards, puts cardstock in it, make birthday cards, Christmas cards, all that sort of stuff. Christmas decorations, doilies, all that rubbish. Not me personally, I just make vinyls, cut my own vinyls on it. There's a good example. That was meant to come out like that, but the Wrangler, the one in the back, all these I've cut myself to put on this body. Even the Jeep 4 litre. So you can get very creative. This used to have a nice griffin on the side before I painted it. I have got some more to put on it, but I'm umming and ahhing whether to put them back on it. What else? The others are indoors, so a bit hard to see. Again, focus, US Army, stars, like I say, they're quite easy to do. Bit technical, but worth it in the end. They was cut on my vinyl machine, so you've got obviously 4 colours there. 3 colours. I didn't do the red bit. That was a sticker I bought. But so there's orange, white and black. All cut, layered together. The white and the orange is, so the white is not on the orange. It's actually next to it. So I've cut the orange, cut the white square to put in it, then cut the black and overlaid it. And like I say, as long as you don't, once you've got it all, you do it all on your screen, you've got it how you want it, then you separate it. As long as you don't change the sizes, it will all fit back together, because the machine will cut it how it's supposed to be. Here's one that's slightly different, but same principle, all done on the vinyl cutter. Apart from the red flammable that come off a sheet of stickers, but all the rest is exactly the same as the one underneath, slightly bigger, and obviously phone number added. If you phone it and get through to someone, say hello, because it ain't my number. Right, pick up all the mess that I've just dropped on the floor, which is pretty much a whole Scania cab. Mercedes sign, very easy to do. To get most of these, you can find all these stickers, or these signs, not the stickers, on Google. I'll have a silhouette, put in silhouette and what you want, or just look for something. You can still, as long as it's not really complicated, you can put it into that software and it will come up as the cutting pattern for you. Right, I think we're done. So like I say, any questions, leave them in the comments, let me know. Hope it helps.